talk baseball every Ravery Sports podcast. This one, our Orioles discussion, is going to be awards. Okay, so I know what the awards are. We've seen it. We saw what happened, blah, blah, blah. This is our version, the Ravery Sports 2024 Orioles Awards. Who won awards for the Baltimore Orioles? Who were the best Baltimore Orioles in 2024 in various categories? So let's go over this as well. Most improved player. So we're going to go 3 down to 1, explain why the player is 3, why the player is 1. Number 3, I thought Grayson was much better this year. I think the concerns with his injury is legit. But here's what I thought was fascinating. I put a poll out this week about if Burns signs. And by the way, I got a lot of heat for that because a lot of fans want him to sign. I said, I don't think he'll sign. I don't think he will. But I don't want to go too far off into that. But I was a little surprised. If he doesn't sign, are you comfortable with Grayson as the number 1 starter? Now, a lot of them said no, absolutely not. And I'm not sure I agree with that. I think Grayson is a number 1 starter. I don't think there was a lot difference between Grayson and Barrett except for the health. He had a couple more uneven starts than Burns did, a few more, but not a lot. Maybe like 3 or 4 starts more where he wasn't as good. But Grayson, I think, was really good. Certainly big improvement. Certainly on his way to being the number 1 pitcher, I think, as well. Colton Cowser was a tremendous improvement from the 2024 season. Look, wasn't even sure he was going to be on the roster. Wasn't sure he was going to be a starter. Made the roster in spring training, took it right from Austin Hayes. So outstanding stuff. I think he's definitely a cornerstone player of the future. Good, bright future for Colton Cowser. But Albert Suarez, a 34-year-old rookie who had basically been Crash Davis, spent his whole career in the minors, was outstanding. I don't think he gets his just due. I'm not sure you make the playoffs without Albert Suarez. I don't think you do. I thought he was terrific in bullpen, terrific, good as a starter. Not good all the time. I think he had some starts that were uneven, but considering the circumstances, fantastic. Fantastic. Albert Suarez, I thought he was their most improved player. Best minor league player, hitter, especially here. Number 3, Daniel Johnson, I thought had a good minor league season. Not quite as good of a prospect, but I thought he was really good in the minors. It's really tough to pick between the first 2. I think it was a dead. But Samuel Basallo, I think, might be the number 1 prospect in the Orioles system. We're going to talk about that too as well, number 1 prospect. But I think he might be. If it isn't, it's Kobe Mayo. I think Kobe Mayo. Now, not so good in the majors when we saw him, but Kobe Mayo destroyed AAA pitching this year. Absolutely destroyed AAA pitching. Definitely a power hitter for the future. Play him at first base. Not at third base. Defense, terrible. But I thought his offense, I thought in the minors, he was fantastic. I thought his offense was great. Definitely a power hitter, long power hitter, big, tall, strong, absolutely bright future for Kobe Mayo as well there. Minor league pitcher. This is going to surprise you. Chase McDermott, I thought, was 3. I don't think he had a lot of good pitching in the minors. I think McDermott was great. I think that's probably the reason why he didn't make the majors. I think if he had a little better, wasn't quite ahead of Cade Povich, but I thought he was probably the 3rd best one. I'm kind of leaning it to that he was in AAA, came off an injury. I could put him there 3rd. Brandon Young actually won the award, I think, for minor league pitcher of the year. He's 25 years as well. Brandon Young, I think, is a good prospect. I think maybe, I don't know if he's an ace. He definitely throws hard enough, but I definitely think I could probably see him in the majors. He could be in the conversation next season, competing for a 5th spot. I could see it depending on the circumstances. Nolan Huffman, I think, was the best pitcher on the Norfolk Tides. He's number 1. I thought I'm taking him. I thought he was 8-3. He's not a prospect because he's up there. I mean, he's definitely 27 years old. So, I mean, I definitely wouldn't call him a prospect going forward. I think I could definitely see a guy like an Albert Suarez type situation for him because he was really good in the minors last year. So definitely I can absolutely see that. Brooks Robinson Award for best defensive Oriole. Cowser, I thought was three there. I thought Cowser was terrific defensively. I definitely give him some points because he had to play multiple positions, mostly left and center, but he did play right. But I think he's outstanding defensively. He's got great instincts. None of that garbage like you saw in the World Series with the Yankees outfielder. Like it's just awful. None of that stuff. Cowser tracks balls well, throws well from the outfield. Really has his head in the game. I think he's terrific as well. Adley, some people are on Adley's defense. I thought Adley still is really good. The percentage of runners of throwing out, I know, is down. I still like his enthusiasm as well. I thought like that was down for everybody. I don't think it was just an Adley problem. I thought like a lot of guys had trouble throwing out runners more this year. But I think Adley defensively, he sets the tone. I think he sets the tone for the defense as well. Neither one of them was as good as Cedric Mullins. Cedric Mullins is a highlight film. Like you won't go a week with him playing without seeing an outstanding diving catch by Cedric, outstanding catch over the wall by Cedric, outstanding like there. And he's the center fielder. He's the leader of the outfielder. He's the leader of the outfield, definitely making all the defensive calls out there. Cedric, absolutely best defensive Oriole. Next award, I'm sorry. Greg Olson Award. Greg Olson is one of my favorite pitchers of all time, one of my favorite baseball seasons. 1989 was the Rookie of the Year for the Orioles as a closer. Outstanding curveball, Greg Olson. For those of you that don't know, Greg Olson. So who was the best Oriole Rookie of this year? K. Povich. He was the pitcher that made the most starts. I don't know about Povich. I think Povich has a future. I think he's a reliever. I don't know if he's a starter. I don't know if he's a starter. I think definitely, depending on what happens in the offseason, could be in the mix for a fifth starter. I think he gets less starts next year. That's probably right. But I definitely think, give him credit, he did make his way to the majors, did get some starts. Looked good at times. Jackson Holliday was number 2 as well. Jackson Holliday, I think, was resilient. I mean, he was under a lot of pressure, a horrible start, obviously. And I think he recovered. I think he went down to AAA. This was the first time in his career where he ever struggled. Didn't struggle in high school, was great. All the levels in AAA, AA, A ball in the minors, he was great. Struggled, got humbled a little bit, I think, as well. Came back up and he started to turn around. Then he kind of slowed up a bit again as well. Interesting to see where he is as far as I think he'll be out there next year, but do they still view him as this guy they're going to play right away? I think he may have to earn his spot. We will see what happens. But Colton Cowser was easily the best rookie on the Orioles, if I think the best rookie hitter in the American League, 20-plus home runs. I think the only thing with him is he going to be an elite player, get that average up to about 252-ish, 240-ish, 250-ish. Can he get up to like a 300, be more consistent with the plate, get his OPB up, et cetera, on-base percentage? That's the only thing wrong with Cowser. I thought Cowser was fantastic all season long. Jim Palmer Award. Best pitcher. I do have Suarez. Yes, that is right. It's look, didn't have anybody in the bullpen. I don't think it was worthy at all. As far as for a whole season, you didn't have Batista at all. You didn't have Kimbrel. Kimbrel kind of flamed out there. Sir Anthony kind of like half the year, etc. A lot of injuries for the bullpen guys. So I think Suarez, I thought, was the third best starter. I do. I think Suarez, I thought, was probably, I think I said it, or I'm going to say it one more time. They don't get to the playoffs without Suarez and his contribution to the team this year. So I thought he was third. I thought Grayson was second. I thought Grayson was. I thought Grayson was really good. I thought there was a couple starts they would get him from Burns. I thought when he's good though, he is really good. Really throws hard. Keeps it simple. I think that's what I like about him. He's not the pitcher I think Burns is, as far as mixing pitches and all that other stuff. But he doesn't need to do that. Throw it hard. I think he's well. Can he stay healthy enough as well? Number one, Corbin Burns. I think this was obvious. This was the best pitcher they've had since the Moose, Mike Mussina. Um, I I think August, I think, was down a bit. That was it. Everything else was lights out. Quality start, outstanding all season long. No injuries. Definitely number one free agent pitcher in all of baseball. He was outstanding, period. We know. Who was most valuable Oriole? Um, I got a tie. I kind of I'm gonna put Adley only because he's an everyday player, a little bit over Burns, just slightly. I have a harder time putting a pitcher as most valuable Oriole, but it's a little bit of a. It was really close putting him. I thought Adley, I thought was better than what people gave him credit for this year. At the end, he struggled. There's no question about it. I think that's why he wasn't higher. But I had him. I had him like third. I had a tie. I know that's going to surprise some people, but I did have Santander and Anthony Santander and Gunnar Henderson. I thought Gunnar Henderson, I think, is the obvious one. I think he had a tremendous step up. He had a good rookie year. He was even better this year. I definitely think next season he's an AL MVP candidate. I thought he was fantastic. And I'm not discounting Anthony Santander. He had almost, the home run total, I think he could have had 60 home runs like this year. He's hot and cold. It was more hot than cold this year. I thought Santander was fantastic all season long. I think his defense was good as well. I think his defense is somewhat underrated. Definitely a free agent as well. But I don't know if he ever plays again for us, but I thought he was great. Anthony Santander and Gunnar Henderson, Ravery Sports, most valuable